Welcome to the At Leisure Podcast. This is a show about sports, video games, movies, just basically things we do with our leisure time. We are finally back talking about college football, and we have our two mainstays with us. Ashton, original co-host. What's up, man?
How's it going? Long time no see.
Yeah, feels like it. And Brady, good to have you back.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so, man, life has just been so busy that I haven't got a chance to make a podcast in a while. We just do this for the fun of it for the most part. We got some pretty good listeners, but, it's nothing crazy. So I really was thinking, you know what, this year we might just skip it. I mean, I'm having another kid. Things are going good. And then I saw the week 0 game, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and I was just like, man, I love this sport so much. I just need to talk about it and put it on the internet because that's just the fun part of it, So, man, what about that game, guys? Like that was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, first off, it sounds like you've got your priorities in order. I mean, definitely college football over,
yeah, I said screw it. We'll make time.
Let's go ahead and talk about football now. But yeah, no, it was a heck of a game, man. And not to brag, I thought Georgia Tech was going to beat Florida State, so I did kind of call that one. But
is it on your YouTube?
It is. We got proof.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Nice.
Show
the receipts.
Yeah, that's right, baby.
That's not me for not listening to your preview.
Like
I said, I've been busy.
But this week 1 slate, though, was actually one of the better ones I can remember. There's like 5 top 25-ish games that, actually got some intrigue to them, I would say, probably.
For sure.
Yeah, that Georgia Tech Florida State game, that was a good one. It was entertaining the whole way. I was kind of surprised at how well Georgia Tech's offensive line handled Florida State's defensive line. That's like the pride and joy of their team. And Georgia Tech just went in there and I kind of owned them.
They did the thing you have to do, right? When you're playing a team that's supposedly better than you, is you just got to keep possession of the ball, shorten the game, give them. I think I was listening to Josh Pate and he was like, they had 1 possession in the last 10 minutes of the game or something crazy like that, where it's like, they really just didn't get a lot of chances. And man, DJ is going to be taking some heat. I mean, he is taking some heat from this. And man, he just looks like the quarterback we knew he was, It's not like, not like anything. He's not terrible. He just doesn't push the ball down the field. He doesn't make the big plays. So it was just kind of,
I don't know. I kind of thought maybe since Florida State just has so many new players, maybe if they played again later in the year, it might be a different story. But I wasn't super impressed with DJ. And again, he's not great, but he at least wins usually.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Still, fun game to watch. Loved it. And when Florida came out, drove down the field, scored a touchdown immediately, I was like, uh-oh, this might be a big deal. And man, Ireland, surprisingly good atmosphere. I was shocked. Oh, do these people know college football?
Hey, they got soccer fans over there.
yeah.
They just loud. They just wanted to be there.
I know, so a little off topic, but I watch WWE stuff, wrestling, and they've been doing overseas pay-per-views the past this last year, and those fans are nuts compared to in the US. It's insane.
I see in the NBA, they always talk about man, this is nothing compared to those overseas games. And then you see the YouTube videos and it's there's fire in the stands. Yeah. People chanting, the stadium looks like it's about to fall over. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Maybe we're tame down here. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff
it's a lot crazier in tortillas, getting thrown on.
Yeah. Well, Well, I'm saying college football is about as crazy as you get in the United States. So
people are just you got a little passion because you actually went there. In the NFL, you're a fan, but you didn't play for them.
There's a lot of more ownership of college football. That's why the atmospheres. I've been to a pro game and I've been to college games, and it's not even compared. College games are so much better. But we've talked about that on this show many times. So let's just jump into. We're gonna just talk about all of the conferences. We're gonna just go from the hip. We don't know which ones we're gonna go. Which order we're going to go in. But in the end, I'll have the timestamps below. I really feel like maybe we should just talk about the ACC first because we were talking about the Florida State Georgia Tech game. So we kind of cheat on this one, but who do y'all think is going to win this conference? I mean, you can still pick Florida State, but but we've got a head start on maybe not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and start on this one. So I guess I'm going to go with probably Clemson right now is who I think is going to win it, and that's probably a generic answer, And last year I was high on them. I thought they'd be good last year, but it didn't happen. But kind of the conference is just such a, I don't know, for lack of a better word, crapshoot. It's like there's a lot of teams that are like Miami is talented, but you can't trust them.
Yeah.
And NC State is kind of another one that's iffy, but I don't know. Clemson just the most trustworthy, I guess, as far as I know. They're reliable to. They're at least going to win a certain amount of games. They're probably going to at least be close. Which they play Georgia this week, so we'll know a lot pretty early.
Yeah. You picking Clemson, Brady?
I'm actually going to go with Miami. I know that they've had a lot of hype, and they just have failed to meet the hype for a while. But watching Clemson, I have not been too impressed yet by Klubnik. I think I need to see some steps from him this year for them to win it. I really didn't know which way I was going to go. I could see either one of these teams winning. But, I like Miami. I think that they are finally gonna come out and live up to the hype, and I think it'd be fun to watch them be good. I don't think they've really been good for quite a while now. So,
yeah, it's always those that documentary of the those '90s teams where they're like, Miami used to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, I know. And like you got the swamp down there, and I haven't been able to experience the good Miami team, so I'd like to see them have.
They don't call Miami's the swamp, right?
No, that's Florida.
That's the Gators.
I'm saying Florida has a lot of energy down there. I'd like to see Miami get some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also going to pick Clemson. It's a fair, good argument, and honestly, this is
fans.
Dude, yeah, Dabo fans, 100% Dabo fans. He's one of 3 guys who's won a national championship left. And one of them is Mac Brown. Respect to him, but he's out of he's out of that conversation now.
It's gonna be Dabo in 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. And Dabo made the playoffs six consecutive years when it was just the 4 team. You're telling me he can't get into the 12 team? That's crazy to me, anyways. Especially in the ACC where it's like. There's 3 teams that are good, and then the rest there's like a middle ground that I feel like they're kind of like Big 12, and then they actually have like a bottom, like a pretty big bottom of like that.
Virginia.
Yeah. And so to me, it's really not a super hard schedule. Clemson is like the 5th highest talent rated team by 24/7 Sports, just based on stars, which doesn't really tell the whole story, but it does tell you hey, these guys were supposed to be good.
They keep the talent in house, baby.
Exactly. They keep good talent in house.
They lose it. They don't replace it.
Yeah, as I say, he doesn't get the transfer portal stuff. So it's honestly impressive that they're still the 5th highest without, because they're not losing guys. So, and so it's they're the 5th highest, and then Florida State and Miami are 13 and 14, and then the next closest is North Carolina. It's something a little lower down. So I mean, honestly, they just have a talent gap, and we saw what Florida State does with their talent gap, and so it just feels like to me, Clemson's probably the best bet. And Brady, you said you've not been impressed with Klubnik, but last year he did throw for 2,600 yards. 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It's not terrible.
No, that's not terrible, but you also just talked about a reason I think he had those numbers. They're not playing great teams week in, week out. And so whenever he has those big games, I just feel like the lights are a little too bright for him. But I'd like to see him put it together this year.
So far.
Yeah. Well, that's what, and you look at them now compared to even though I picked them Clemson, you look at them now compared to when they were making those championships, they really don't look like the same team. The guys they got small receivers, it doesn't seem like they have the big NFL receivers they used to have.
Skill guys, guys are so much worse.
Yeah, to me. It doesn't, because even back then they were like Alabama and Georgia, they were, they looked like that. But now they really don't. I don't know what happened, but transfer portal.
Yeah, well, at least we got a split on this one, because I think here in some of these other conferences, it's pretty chalk. But I mean, Miami is a good bet in my opinion.
Yeah, that's who I'd have second probably. Yeah,
for sure.
They're just so talented. And really they were fairly close last year. Not to the championship, but their games they lost, they're kind of they played in South minus Georgia Tech.
I don't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago, but maybe just a little better game management towards the end of games. Don't let that clock in the game for you.
Oh yeah, that'll be infamous. That's some
NCAA
stuff. Okay, so what are some of your favorite teams in this conference other than those guys? Maybe not like who you think is going to win, but like if they're on the TV, you'd like to watch them.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say a team, but it's not because it's my favorite team to watch. It's because I am a part of the Hateful Eight, and a hate watch is just as good as watching a favorite team.
Oh, for sure.
And so I'm going to say SMU. I see so much talk from SMU fans about like the Big 12 being whatever they want to say. I don't know. It just left a bad taste in my mouth. And then for them going to the ACC, they were all like rubbing in our face. And now the ACC is maybe going to fall apart. I don't know. I just think I enjoyed this last week watching them play. They almost lost to Nevada. I mean, it's early in the season. Yeah. Not a good team to lose to. And so, I don't know. It was a fun time watching it. I was sad to see that they pulled it out, but, it was still fun.
Yeah, I'm not going on the hate watch train, but let's go with Syracuse is who I'm going to go with because they've got Ohio State's quarterback, McCord, transferred there.
Yeah.
So, and they kind of got like pretty easy schedule and they kind of added some guys in the portal, but like Kyle McCord, I wasn't exactly on the Ohio State bandwagon to him being the reason they were losing necessarily. So, which I don't think he's great or anything, but like, I think I'm curious to see how he looks, because anytime, like if you would have said 10 years ago, like, hey, Syracuse got Ohio State starting quarterback, it'd be like, well, what's going on? Justin Fields going to, Syracuse or what? But just, not that he's that level, but anytime that happens, like
he's a high-rated guy going to Syracuse.
A top 5 team last year, arguably, and then that, so.
That's a good pick. That's crazy. And you're right. Their schedule's favorable. That's what's crazy about this is like with all these giant teams, all the schedules are like so unbalanced. Like we'll hit it with some of these. As I say, we hit it with some of these other conferences, but like it is just insane. I think Syracuse has the weakest schedule in the ACC, which is already a weak thing. Like the weakest. If you look it up, that's crazy to me. The 17th hardest schedule in their conference. Wow. So it's a good pick.
It's a good stat to have. Like,
that's
what I'm looking forward to.
You want that on your side. So that's interesting. My pick, I guess, first is probably Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is, I think, going to be a pretty good team. Like Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech are the two that I'm picking because they feel to me like Big 12 teams where like they do more with less talent. And like in this conference, they have the chance to be the ones that upset those big dogs, those top 3 guys. Well, Georgia Tech already did it, obviously. So, but Virginia Tech has 25 returning starters, which is incredible. That's not even possible. 25 guys.
Sorry, they're returning the punter and kicker.
25 returning players that played 300 or more snaps, which is crazy.
We can count the punter and kicker and long snapper
and the kick returners.
Yeah.
The holder.
You can get there.
Hey, lots of people are calling them their dark horse.
Get back, coach.
And I think I'm one of those people. If you watch Kyron Drones, that transfer from Baylor, he's pretty good dual threat quarterback. Last year he had 2,000 yards passing, 17 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, which is 2,000 yards passing. It's not that big of a deal.
Not quite Klubnik numbers, but it's okay.
Exactly. But what he does is rush too. He had over 800 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. So, it's a good dual threat there. And also in College Football 25, they're fun to play with. They're the 24th overall rated team. And if you just watch a Virginia Tech game, and especially when they're good, that Inner Sandman is an electric entrance. It's fun atmosphere, talking about good atmosphere. So when the ACC breaks down, I'd be happy to get Virginia Tech in the Big 12.
Yeah, solid ad and kind of everything, on a bunch of sports. No love for Tyler Shough there.
Louisville, I mean, I'll be interested. I'll be watching and rooting for him. I like him.
I don't know if that was hate watching or what,
No.
Wrong
gave
person. I'm sorry.
Tech
There's no bad blood. He just got injured a lot.
Yeah. And it's Morton's turn, but we'll get to that. And I guess touching on Georgia Tech a little bit more too. They're fun to watch. Haynes King, I bet a lot of people know him now that didn't before. I knew him because he played at A&M, and so like I watched a lot of him play beforehand, and he's definitely gotten better. Talk about a dual threat quarterback. Last year, he was really good last year, like sneaky good. He threw for 2,755 yards, 26 touchdowns to 15 interceptions, and then rushing had 650 yards rushing and 9 touchdowns. So he accounted for a lot of touchdowns. If he can knock that interception number down, he might have some real sneaky Heisman odds with some of those numbers. Yeah. So, especially if he keeps pulling off upsets like he did against Florida State, he'll have like 2 more chances to do that. But no, actually, they have a hard schedule. No, that's not true. They have a hard schedule. They have the 7th hardest schedule in the nation. Talk about ACC turning around. It's because their non-conference games are Georgia and Notre Dame. So they get all the top dogs. They get Miami, they get Clemson, and they get Florida State. Mm-hmm. So right there, that's 5 top 10 teams.
That's right, yeah.
So,
but you got to feel good after that first game.
Exactly. Now they're thinking, hey, we might have a chance against everyone except for Georgia, probably.
Yeah.
But anything else about this conference y'all be looking into? We mentioned Tyler Shuck.
I mean, I don't have high hopes for Stanford or Cal, but I'll be curious to see if maybe the travel will impact teams in those games. Going from West Coast to East Coast or East Coast to West Coast, that's a lot. That's a lot, like, physically on someone. And they're in college still, so they got a week of school and then they got to make that travel.
Yeah,
and
weird.
I don't know. It might not be that big of a deal, but it also might. So
it's the first year to know too.
Sure. I'll say the only team we didn't mention that I think could win it would be NC State. Probably, I think they could.
Yeah,
maybe sneak in there and win it, but that'd be the only team we didn't really talk about. That
classic NC State being uninteresting, but kind of good.
And they got a Coastal Carolina's quarterback. He came over, so
I did not know that.
What's his name? McCall. Yeah, Grayson McCall. Yeah. So he went there. So.
Well, that's cool. All right. Yeah. See, I didn't know that, so I'll be interested in.
We'll see.
In watching them some. I guess another thing is Florida State. Hopefully, I say hopefully. For DJ, I hope he kind of bounces back a little bit because of just the amount of hate he's getting already. But who knows if he can, and Florida State in general, like that's the difference in this year versus all the other years is they still got a chance to make the playoffs. Like, one win's not going to keep you out. You can still win the conference title and get in. So they still got plenty of opportunities, but who knows if they'll be able to bounce back or not. That's a tough way to start a season.
Especially after the way the last season ended. That's just
yeah.
As long as they don't play anybody from Georgia,
and them complaining all off season. So I bet a lot of ACC fans are feeling some type of way about them losing right off the back. Like, you try to blow up our conference and you lose the game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Can they handle the gauntlet of an ACC schedule? All right. Well, let's jump into the next one. Big Ten is the next one, I say, and we'll just save SEC and Big 12. Those are the ones we care the most about for the end. So let's jump Big Ten. Who do y'all say wins this one?
I'll probably say Oregon. I just think that,
All right,
doesn't Ohio State have to go? Don't they have to go to Oregon?
Probably, yeah. I'm not.
I'm pretty sure that Ohio State goes to Oregon, and
I think you are right. You're right.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big. I think that'll be the game to decide who's going to win the conference. But I think Dylan Gabriel, he's going to come out and he's going to lead that offense well. They got a proven winner in him. I just think that I don't know. I think they're going to. Maybe not the best.
He's away from Brent Venables now. It's okay.
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I like Dylan Gabriel as a quarterback, but people are talking about him like he's a Heisman winner, and I don't see it.
See, the problem with me is I only remember the Texas game, and he just tore us up. So I don't really,
that's fair. That's fair. He did
himself.
And I only saw him live one time against Tech, and they lost. So it's just like maybe that's color in my opinion. But like I've seen it at UCF now, Oklahoma. He led Oklahoma to that 6-8 season or whatever it was, and then last year he was better for sure. And I mean, he's a good quarterback. I don't want to hate on him or anything. I definitely think OU fans hated on him more than I did. But
I think there's a lot of outside things of his game. From
Bo Nix to me is kind of crazy. I thought Bo Nix was better than him. So
I don't know if I'd say an upgrade, but I think he brings a little bit of a difference to the team than what Bo Nix did with his legs. But I just think, I don't know. I think they'll come in and they'll kind of put a target on their back after year one.
Sounds like Ashton, you agree with me. I think it's gonna be Ohio State.
Yeah, I'd say probably Ohio State, which I'm a known Oregon hater apparently, But so not true. The Oregon skeptic, but I think they are good. I just question, but yeah, I would say Ohio State before I trash Oregon. I'll go with it. I'll say Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about the talent rating with Clemson. Ohio State's third and in the country. Their defense returns 14 players that also saw 300 plus snaps. You can tell that I looked at a website that had all the guys, like a ranking of all the ones who got, basically starters. But still, I mean, I think that's important, honestly. And it's like their defense was good last year too, and they only got better. They added Caleb Downs from Alabama, who's probably the best safety in the country. And then they got Judkins at running back, and their schedule, talk about easy schedules. I mean, they play Michigan on a down year, Oregon and Penn State, and then everyone else, they're like double-digit, they're all double-digit favorites, triple-digit. Yeah. I was thinking 3 touchdowns instead of 2.
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, they're really –
they're talented. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really talented, and their schedule really isn't –
I mean, they play the tougher teams in the Big Ten, I guess, but, like these last years, I mean, I guess, well, I say last year, I mean, they didn't lose to Michigan by much. And, it's the Michigan team that won the championship, which, I mean, they should have lost to Notre Dame too, but that's beside the point. But, besides this little run with Harbaugh and JJ McCarthy and all that, I mean, they've,
I mean, this little run's been 3 years now.
Yeah. Well, that's what, but I think you just kind of got to wait out that window when they're making the playoff every year,
Yeah,
but I think
for sure, I think Michigan's down.
I think they'll be fine. Like you had to wait that out.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have to worry about 3 games as Ohio State, and I would pick them in all 3. So, in my opinion, Oregon is the one that's the biggest problem.
All right, Oregon's they got that home field advantage, so they got a strong one there. Yeah. That's why I think
the far travel game.
They just like it. All these new teams and new conferences, I'm just hoping that for the Big 12's sake. Yeah, but I just think that it's going to be such a change up, like too many variables for these new teams.
Well, that was kind of with Oregon was my thought. Like I think they're good. It's just the Pac-12 I thought was a little weaker than the Big Ten. Now, not as a whole, maybe, but at the top,
and even
as far as playing tough teams.
Yeah, and even if that's not the case, like the style of football is so different. Like the idea of Oregon playing Iowa to me, I'm like, what the heck is going to happen in that game?
You already know that's an Iowa win. 7-3, baby. I'm just kidding.
I thought you were going to say I already know Iowa's not scoring a touchdown.
3-2.
Yeah, but it's like that's just like 2 completely different styles. And like Oregon playing in the snow, like they did an interview with some of the Oregon players, and they were like, "Yeah, I've never played in the snow before." It's like, well, you're probably gonna.
Let's not act like Oregon's just a warm place to be.
I'm not saying it is. I just feel like it's a different thing.
Yeah,
it's a different.
I'm with you. I will say they have beaten Ohio State in the regular season before, so I mean it's not. Yeah, I'm not saying it can't happen.
Yeah, but, and who knows? We might be overstating that, but I would still pick Ohio State in the conference they're comfortable playing in versus Oregon.
I'd probably have Oregon third.
Third? Who would you put in front of them?
I got Penn State above them. And I know it's probably a crappy pick to a lot of people, but they've kind of been like, all right, so you got Michigan, you got Ohio State, then you got Penn State. These last few years, like Penn State barely lost to Michigan and Ohio State last year. So like right there, their defense is stacked.
Their defense is really good.
I think they can shut down.
I mean, they're probably the biggest benefactor of the new playoffs.
They're
10 and 11 games.
They would have been in every time. Yeah, if that happens.
But they always lose the big games. I'm just saying, like, I mean, Franklin's record. I've got his records here versus
Franklin's
12 and 25 against top 10 teams. He's 3 and 17 against Michigan and Ohio State. He's 4 and 16.
Now, some of those were probably at Vanderbilt, though. I will say that. Just as far as stat changing a little bit.
Ranked teams, maybe.
He was
like Michigan, Ohio State. Those are the games you got to win. 4 and 16. Like, come on.
That's true.
And also,
I didn't say they're going to beat Ohio State. I said Oregon. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, they're almost a lock for the playoffs this year in everyone's mind, and I'm just
I think
I guess because who else are they playing?
Too.
So you think all three?
Yeah, because I don't like it. Oregon plays Boise. I don't think that's not going to be an issue. Boise was bad last year, so I think Oregon will. Yeah, I think they'll be good. Top 10. I've got them in the playoff right now, even though I'm a skeptic. So I think there is some talent there.
That's definitely that's three.
It's saying a lot there.
Teams for sure.
It's like having Tech in the playoff.
Definitely the best three. Is that like having Tech? I think Penn State's got a little better shot.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
But I still wouldn't put them in.
No spoilers.
Hey, what if they lose to West Virginia week 1?
It's possible. Oh, you're talking about Penn State? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's possible. I don't think they will, but it's possible. It's in West Virginia, so maybe.
It could happen. And like I said, Drew Aller, I don't believe in that guy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think he's pretty good, but only against the bad teams, like we said, when he goes against the good teams. Like last year, I think he threw for 25 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, which is incredible. But I think he threw for 70 yards against Ohio State, like 70.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
Who else we want to talk about in the Big Ten? If we want to touch back on Ohio State for a little bit, isn't it crazy that that the backup QB at Kansas State is now the quarterback at Ohio State?
Yeah.
Will Howard.
That's the only reason I'm skeptical.
Will Howard's good, but I don't think if he's not beating out Avery Johnson in Kansas State, like for him to be the quarterback at Ohio State, I think anyone will thrive there, and I think he'll be fine because I think he's good, but I don't know if he's like the narrative.
I think I told you that
flipped. Like everyone's like,
I told you that.
Yeah, you're talking about Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, you're talking about Dylan Gabriel going somewhere and being a Heisman contender. Will Howard going there, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's incredible," and I'm very curious to see how he does. I'm curious to see how much Ohio State can lift him up, but I don't know.
And I don't think he's bad. I think he's good.
I don't think he's bad.
I think he's maybe a step below Dylan Gabriel, but I don't think it's like a drastic step because I mean they played in the same conference, had the same stats really. So I think he's good. It's just interesting. It's just a really weird thing. I don't know. It's
like it's just weird to me, like that you think Ohio State, and like as far as like how the portal works now, it's like the best they could do is Kansas State's backup quarterback. You know, like just when you think of a big picture, it's like not necessarily saying that he wasn't even the best quarterback available. You know, he wasn't. But it's just weird thinking about that. He couldn't start at Kansas State, so you know what? We'll take him.
Take him and make him the starter.
At a national championship contender versus a Big 12 championship contender. So
but also with Ohio State, this is because of the video game. I got to see Judkins make a spin move out there. I got to see this. Like in the video game, it was unstoppable. They had to patch it, and so I'm just curious. Like I want to see him go out there and. Who was it?
I wonder how many
people. Braxton Miller had the crazy spin moves. Like I'm expecting to see some of that stuff from Judkins this year. So
I wonder how many times he's gotten that where people are like, "Dude, your spin move is incredible." He's like, "Man, I don't remember spinning that much." You know? I don't think I've ever spun.
I think he's probably the highest benefactor so far from being in the video game. Like that dude,
star power. Yeah. Big Ten. I think USC and Washington are both going to be interesting moving in. Lincoln Riley always has a good offense, and he fired his defensive coordinator finally. Grinch is gone.
Yeah.
And so, like, can their defense be better? And they're going to have a lot of tests in the Big Ten of defensive battles, you know, where people are like kind of relying on defense. So can his offense stay at the high pace that it's been, and then also have a defense that can stop Drew Aller? Like, I would think so, but I don't know. You know, I would bet Lincoln Riley more than I think most people would. Our OU listeners hate to hear that, but I think he's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I don't know about you, Brady, but I know me and Brett are a couple of the few defenders of Dabo and Lincoln Riley. I think so. As far as like,
I like both of them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I always kind of wish that Lincoln Riley would come to Tech. You know, back to his roots, but he never did.
I wanted him on the Cowboys. I still want him on the Cowboys.
I forgot that was supposed to happen for a while there.
Yeah. Been better than McCarthy, but this is not an NFL podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think that do they play Iowa this year, USC?
No idea.
Don't remember. I know Iowa has a very manageable schedule, though. Like,
I was going to say, if they play against Iowa, do you think Iowa scores a touchdown on them?
I think.
Or do they score multiple touchdowns? That's the question.
I would bet no.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because that's like the two worst in the conference going at each other. So
it's bad when we know, like, they're so bad that we know the coordinator's name. That's when you know it's bad. Like, we name Grinch, but we know Ferentz was the offensive coordinator. That's when you know it's bad, and not in a good way. It's like, this guy sucks so bad. I know this guy's name.
We know his name. Well, I think USC, their biggest problem is they have the hardest Big Ten schedule. They play LSU to start the season, and then they play Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State, Washington, Notre Dame.
What about y'all's thoughts on my Big Ten sleeper pick in Rutgers? If you do listen to any of the YouTube channel, this is all right. This has been the one I've been going viral for the most. All right, because their schedule is a cakewalk. It's a cupcake schedule. Like, they could legitimately be undefeated. Like, and they don't have to
Rutgers?
play. They don't have to play like the top 5 teams.
Dude,
I think
hear
USD
you.
might be the tough one they play, but they don't play Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. They don't play any of them. They beat Virginia Tech by like 20 last year.
Yeah, I do think that they have the easiest schedule in college football, probably in the Power 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, they still their quarterback's the transfer from Minnesota, and I remember watching him thinking, "Boy, this guy stinks. I don't know if he'll get on another team."
No, 100%. I don't know why they changed that. I would have stuck with I was all right with their quarterback last year. Like, when I watched him,
I mean, he wasn't great, but
no, but I figured he'd been in Minnesota guy.
Yeah, I can't even say his name, like Kyle Manis or something.
Yeah, good luck. I don't know.
Manis, yeah. And I mean, they have a good running back who also is a difficult name to pronounce. So they're all name. Yeah, Manunga. Kyle's his first name. I'll just call him Kyle.
Yeah, just call him Kyle. You know him.
Yeah,
he led the Big Ten in rushing last year. Kyle did. He told me.
Yeah, he was good. Did he lead the Big 12? I know he had like 1,200 yards.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not making that up. I don't think. Maybe. But
for Rutgers, that's crazy to me. I still think they're Rutgers. I mean, if they win a bowl, if they get to a bowl game, I think that's a successful season. Well, wasn't last year like the first time they got a bowl game in 10 years?
Probably. They brought their coach back, Shiano, or whatever. Well, they did. Like I said, they beat Virginia Tech by about 20 last year.
Was that the bowl game?
No, that was just in the regular season.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. Now, the Big Ten's a whole different animal than the ACC, but
yeah, maybe. I feel it's pretty similar except for the top. And if you're dodging,
I feel like they're probably gonna tank because of this vote of confidence, probably. But it's more than likely.
Yeah, and I guess I mentioned Washington earlier, but they'll be interesting because they lost so many players to the transfer and the draft and all their coaching staff. Like, they made it to the national championship and then just dispersed. I feel bad for their fans.
Tough. Is that hit home a little bit, or just losing the championship? And not trying to. I'm being legit. Like, I'm not trying to poke
a little bit. It's not football. Like, it was basketball, so it's not quite the same. But yeah, pretty similar. I will say I think more of our guys stayed.
I just meant we
had a lot of that.
Coach leaving.
We had a lot of.
That's why that makes you think like how different it'd be. Like, because it usually doesn't happen if they win the championship. Like, then leave. Like, I don't know, but
I think the difference would be he went to Alabama. He didn't go to Oregon. If he would have gone to Oregon, then
exactly. Yeah,
they were they're probably pretty upset up there in Washington. I honestly don't know a Washington fan personally, so I don't know the true vibe of their fan base. But if he would have gone to Oregon, I wouldn't have to know anyone in their fan base to know that they're all just livid. So
yeah,
I'm sure it stung pretty bad, and they probably are mad, but I think it's a little bit different of a situation. Yeah. Well, and then they got Jedd Fisch coming over from Arizona. What do you think? Can he keep the momentum going? To me, it kind of feels like TCU, where they filled a lot of holes with transfers, and like they got 6 top 100 transfers, but to me, I don't think that's enough. I mean, they got Will Rogers. I think he was one of them, the quarterback from Mississippi State. And that'll be interesting to see because, I mean, obviously he put up some huge numbers with that Leach offense.
If they were still in the Pac-12, I might feel a little better about their chances, but I just feel like, I don't know, going to the Big Ten, I feel like it's going to be harder. Especially just with everything they're dealing with in general.
Yeah, there's so much change, just an incredible amount of change for that football team. Like,
it'll be tough to overcome.
Players and
everything,
conference,
everything,
coaches. So, but they have like a manageable schedule in the Big Ten. I think theirs is like ranked 10th in the Big Ten, which is almost right in the middle. So they could do some things. I see them probably being a 500 team and then like maybe upsetting one of the winning an upset game probably.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting just to see what that team looks like. It's weird to talk about them in the Big Ten.
It is weird.
Yeah, it is.
And we kind of touched on, will Iowa score any points now that they have a new offensive coordinator? That'll be interesting to see.
If they do, they're a scary team.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Well, that's a ginormous if.
Yeah. I'm almost worried about it. Like not if it'll make your offense any worse, but like you just have that team identity. Like our defense has to play good because our offense is so, like just it kind of happens sometimes. And then like the offense starts scoring and the defense just somehow gets a little worse,
Yeah.
But I saw their head coach got suspended for game 1 for recruiting violations. Did y'all see that?
No.
I think it was for Cade McNamara, the quarterback. Apparently a couple years ago, it came out that he tampered talked to him whenever he wasn't supposed to or whatever. And so he's sitting out game 1,
NCAA always picks and chooses who they want to
sort of random.
Weird timing too. I'm like, okay. It's week 1. Let's go ahead and throw this at you.
It's kind of
Jim
something
Harbaugh
like that.
Should come back for the championship.
Yeah. That's
what I'm saying. They're pretty.
Did y'all watch the documentary? I haven't got a chance to watch it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Apparently nothing crazy comes out, but just it's pretty much just like a deep dive into what's his name?
Stallions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff. I'll probably watch that eventually, especially if something comes out of it. All right, let's move on to the SEC. The new look SEC with Texas and OU coming in. Who do y'all say wins it all? Brady, you start because you've been the weird one.
Yeah, I'm not going to be weird on this one. Not getting too fancy. I'm going to go with Georgia. I mean, they didn't do it last year, but you got to see them lose a few more games than one every 3 years or whatever. So
another stat I heard from Josh Pate. So they've got 30 straight regular season wins and haven't lost to anyone other than Bama since 2020.
Man,
that's insane. Wild. That's insane. So, I'm not betting against them. They got the best odds to win the conference and the best odds to win the national championship. And they've got the number 1 talented team in the country. And Carson Beck is back. He didn't go to the NFL. And they got better across the board except for maybe tight end with Brock Bowers leaving. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they have a tough schedule, especially in the SEC. But, I mean, they still feel like it's close to a lock as you can get for the playoffs and maybe even the championship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with y'all here on Georgia.
I do think that Texas A&M has a very favorable schedule. I feel like their hard games are at home. Like they're playing against Texas at home. They got Notre Dame is at home. Missouri's at home. Their hardest road game is probably Florida just because it's hard to play at Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Early too, right? Is that early? Is that an early game?
Yeah, that's their 3rd game of the season.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, they also have LSU at home. So it's just like, I think they are a schedule winner.
It's a tough schedule right there.
It still sounds hard to me. Are you sure that's an easy schedule?
I mean, I guess they don't play Alabama or
Those
Georgia,
are all ranked.
Or am I tripping?
I'm not trying to say it's easy. I'm saying all their hard games are at home.
I got you.
Yeah. And so they have a very good home field advantage. And so I like it. I understand they play some hard games, but they don't lose very many games at home. So
yeah.
In Alabama's reign, Alabama came over and they would lose in Kyle Fields. So I like how the schedule turned out for them, even though it is a hard schedule.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with y'all on Georgia. Now, their schedule is so difficult that even if they are the best team in the country, like I wouldn't be shocked if they lost a game or two and still made the playoff and won the championship, just because you kind of got that luxury now too. Like that kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Bama's schedule is fairly difficult too, if I remember right. But
yeah, it was pretty tough.
The only one I know Brady talked about them a little bit, just as far as who they play, A&M, but Missouri has a pretty good schedule. Like I don't think they're the best team, but I think they'll be in the playoff just because of how I think they play Alabama and then A&M. I think that's kind of as far as who they play, it's pretty good.
Behind Vanderbilt, I think they have the easiest schedule in the SEC.
I think Ole Misses might be fairly minute. Well, I think really everybody but Alabama and Georgia is like somehow they got all the
and Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, yeah, my bad. I was talking about my bad. I was thinking teams that I was envisioning in the playoff. Yeah, you're right. Oklahoma's is brutal. Yeah. But Brent Venables he's probably gonna lose those anyway. So
yeah.
I guess Texas too. Like I think
Texas got an easy
Texas, Missouri, and who's the other one I said? Ole Miss. Like I think they'll all have like one loss because they play Alabama or Georgia, but not both of them.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy to me is like the SEC. I don't think is like the Big Ten. I do think that they have more depth.
Yeah, like Tennessee and LSU can play. And
exactly. Yeah, and so like when you look at the teams, you're like, okay, it only gets to being like bad teams around like Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, South Carolina.
Hey, Ole Miss might not be bad this year.
Yeah,
Ole Miss, their transfer portal was crazy, and I'm not necessarily high on them, but they do.
I wouldn't count them as a bottom tier for sure.
I think they'll make the playoff. Ole Miss.
So when they say SEC's got they're the number one conference, I definitely like they've earned it now. They've got enough good teams in there. Like you can't really hide in the SEC other than if you're Missouri and maybe Texas, but seriously, even y'all's easy schedules, y'all still have like 2 or 3 like top 10 teams.
Yeah, because like we didn't even mention like Auburn. That's a team that isn't they're talented. Florida's going to be talented despite probably not being a top 25 team.
And like I don't believe in their quarterback. Like Florida will be interesting because of how hard their schedule is. It's like, are they going to fire their coach after the season, even though they're playing the hardest schedule in the country? And like I don't believe in their quarterback Graham Mertz, but the rest of their team I think is pretty decent. It's just like, okay, but what are we going to do when we're playing top 10 teams like 4 games in a row?
I'll be curious to see how they look against Miami this week. That's what they're playing. Yeah, it should be a pretty good one, I think. Especially since it's in Florida.
I think it's going to be a good one, and that's what's crazy is like Florida, who's like probably going to be 10 or 11 in the SEC, is going to play the top team in the ACC, and it's like if the ACC, if Miami blows them out, then I'll be like, okay, Miami's legit. I'm changing from Clemson to Miami because like the talent level is almost equal there, and it's just Miami has got better like quarterback and that maybe be it.
Well, and that's like I think it was a couple years ago when Utah was really good and Florida wasn't. Florida beat Utah like in week 1, I think, like same scenario, like with hosting them, like with even though Cam Rising, I think they went to the Rose Bowl or whatever, they won the conference, but there's just still the SEC's depth.
Yeah, and it's like those teams at the bottom after, like there's probably I would say 5 teams there that I think would be at the bottom of like the other conferences, except for maybe the ACC. But then the top 10 to 11 are so strong that it's like they would be at the top of all the other conferences too. So it's just even the easy schedules are kind of tough, which is why I think they expanded the playoffs.
Yeah, because I mean, well, and like you said, like on Florida, like if you put them in the Big 12 or the ACC, they might be the odds favorite to win it all of a sudden.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that, but I would definitely say that they were in the top contender. 4 or 5. Yeah. Like everyone would be saying like, watch out for Florida. They're probably going to be good this year. And in the SEC, they're like, watch Florida. They're going to get their teeth kicked in because they play all the hardest teams. So.
My bad. I would say we'll know a lot about kind of those middle teams this week too, because like LSU plays USC and A&M plays Notre Dame, so you can kind of
like those tier 2 in the conference, see if they actually should be in the tier 1 or lower. Yeah, man, week 1's gonna be fun. You're right. It's got a lot of good matchups. We kind of touched on Oklahoma a little bit. Golly, they got
I was thinking of them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They got such a brutal schedule. They're ranked 16th right now, but they're only a little bit behind Florida in the national. I think they're the third hardest schedule in the country, and Florida's the first hardest schedule in the country. And right now they have the 8th best odds to win the SEC. So like their over under is 7.5, and in the Big 12 they always had 10 wins except for like one season out of 10. Yeah. So I'll just be interested to see how they hang. Like, is the defense going to be better? Like, is it going to reflect Brent Venables? I mean, they extended that guy already.
I know. That's what I was about to say. I can't believe they freaking extended him, man. That's insane. I might be wrong, but I think that's a mistake. Like, I would have make him prove it at SEC at least one. He ain't going nowhere. He sucked last year at Oklahoma. I mean, they weren't very good.
I mean, they won 10 games, but you're right. It was the weakest.
Oh, did they win 10 games last? My bad. I was thinking of the year before.
The year before that, they won, I think, 6.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, for an OU coach to win 6 and 10 games and then get extended, that's crazy to me, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a tough time for them to be entering the SEC, to say the least.
Worst.
If they would have entered like 3-4 years ago,
they might be all right. Yeah,
like they would have been probably top 5. I mean, it's still hard to be top 4 in the SEC, but they would have been up there actually contending for it this year. I'm just. It's crazy to see like Texas and OU going in. Both were pretty high in the Big 12.
OU dominated top so long though.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were the top of the Big 12, and now they're going in, and it's like, oh, Texas might win the SEC, and OU's gonna be middle to bottom.
Yeah, 5 years ago it would have been completely flipped.
You know? It's just crazy to see how poorly timed it was for them.
Yeah, well, that's you're right. Like Oklahoma for that like stretch, besides like. You know, what Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State probably. Like they've just been, you know, the last 20 years they've been with them.
Playing in the playoff
every time. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And like, I think of, well, one, their defense has not been good for a while. And now their quarterback, to me, like, I feel like Arnold, is a downgrade from Dylan Gabriel. Like, we'll see. I mean, you never know, but I've only seen him play against Arizona, and he didn't look good. You know, like he's going to have to look a lot better than he did there. And I can't name, like, this is the first time in a long time where I can't really name any of their skill players, like Sawchuk, maybe their running back. But even him,
just because his name's weird as well.
He had a good end of last season, which is why
because they used to always have a good receiver, like or something.
Yeah. Like CD
Hollywood Brown.
There we go. That's the one I was.
Yeah, they had a few others, but
they'll be interesting. That'll be weird. And A&M will be interesting because, like you were talking about, Brady, their schedule is they play all the hard games at home and have the easier games away, so that kind of matches up with for them. And like, hopefully Connor Wegman will be healthy this year. And honestly, like that team is so talented and have always underperformed. And you put a new guy in the driver's seat, Mike Elko. Like, if you ask me who I trust more, Mike Elko or
Jimbo,
yeah, it's like for a while I would have picked Jimbo, but like the shine on him has long passed, and now I think I'd pick Elko. You know, so you give Elko the talent that Jimbo recruited, and all of a sudden, you know, this team could be big. I mean, they're pretty perennially overrated, but I think that they got a shot this year.
Imagine if it was Mark Stoops. That would have been that's the team we even mentioned.
They did.
I know. Yeah, they offered it to him.
Yeah, I think Kentucky's not very good.
No, but they're kind of in that middle tier.
Yeah,
a team I think will be fun to watch this year will be Tennessee. They got a lot of offensive talent with their wide receivers, Brew McCoy and Thornton. And then they got this young quarterback I think he's a redshirt freshman. His name's Nico, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but I'm going to call him Lama Leva because I like the way it sounds. And I don't know. Like I said, he's I think a redshirt freshman, so I don't think they necessarily know what they have game-wise, but he's an athlete on top of a thrower, so worst comes to worst, he'll be scrambling around a bit. So I don't know. I think they could just be a fun offense to watch.
Yeah, Tennessee is another one that used to be at the bottom, and now I feel like they ebb and flow quite a bit. I'm sure they were at the top, like was Peyton Manning eras and stuff, but for a long time I felt like they were at the bottom of the SEC, and now they're back into the top. top.
Yeah, they should be okay this year. They play NC State, I think not week 1, but like in week 2, I think that'd be a good game. Kind of a number 4 or 5 of both conferences, that type of thing,
Yeah.
Kind of like USC LSU, I feel like, as far as like number 4, number 5, against each other, that type of game.
Yeah. Man, I love these early non-com matchups because it's like we get to know more than even if they're playing in their own conferences, feels like.
Now, I feel like it'll come into play come playoff time. Like as far as this.
It's so interesting too because it's like, what should you schedule? Because like Ohio State went the route of like, we're not scheduling nobody. Their non-conference is garbage.
Michigan, or like prior to this year,
yeah, Michigan, yeah. So it's like, do you want to schedule the harder teams? Like, I think it saved Texas last year because they beat Bama. So
that's what changed my mind on it. I've always been like, why should you? If you can just go undefeated and make it, there's no reason to risk having a loss and missing out. But then that came into play last year with Texas and Bama. Yeah, so I was like, well, I guess it can save you, but because otherwise Texas wouldn't have made it in. So.
Right.
Yeah. Talk about Bama. That would be another one interesting just to see what post Saban Alabama looks like. Kalen DeBoer is a great coach, but you just never know. And like they for sure are expecting him to win the conference and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think everyone else is too. So it's a lot of pressure to follow up on.
I think Milroe's good, the quarterback, not necessarily throwing wise, but he's a heck of an athlete. But like last year, their line couldn't block nothing. I mean, against Michigan, he was getting killed every play,
which is crazy for an Alabama team.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. Which is why Saban retired.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last one I want to talk about is just Ole Miss. Will the transfer talent work in the SEC? I feel like you built the roster around like top 10 transfer talent. And man, they got an easy first 6 games. They're going to be undefeated early. So their back half will be hard, and we'll see if they're like for real, but it'll take a long time. They're going to get so much hype by then that it'll be.
Yeah, they'll probably be in the top 5 by then, probably, or something, just from being undefeated.
Yeah. I mean, they're starting out, 9th, I think?
Yeah, they're already pretty far up there, which I didn't realize. I guess they said the last 2 years, I think they've won double-digit games, I think, the last couple of years. But
really?
I don't think they've beaten anybody. Like like last year, I think they lost to Bama and Georgia, and they got manhandled, but it was like they beat everybody else,
Yeah.
I think they're kind of like Penn
they can't
State-ish.
do that. I don't think they can do that anymore because the conference grew 2 more good teams. So like even their weaker schedules are going to be harder.
Because I feel like they kind of Penn State-ish as far as benefit the most, from playoff anyway, expansion.
Isn't the SEC? Don't they have 4 non-conference games? That's the thing that everyone complains about. Let me see. I just want to pull up their schedule real quick.
I think it's only 3.
Okay.
It could have changed since they've got more teams now.
No, it's 4. You're right. It's 4.
Okay.
So it's like they play 4 like cupcakes.
Well, and that's like I was saying earlier, like nobody besides Alabama and Georgia, you're not playing like Texas, Missouri, and Ole Miss. They don't play each other. Like somehow none of those 3 play each other.
Yeah. So the scheduling balance is just whack right now, like crazy. But yeah, they get to play 4 like Middle Tennessee, Georgia Southern, Furman, and who else? I think that's it. So is it just 3?
No, they got
sounds like a
Wake Forest.
Oh, Wake Forest. Wake Forest is the other one. Well, that's at least a power.
There's your ACC bottom dweller.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I forgot Wake Forest was a Power 5 school.
I honestly forgot they existed when we were talking about ACC schools earlier. I guess that's a benefit to them. I don't think of them automatically when I think bottom barrel, but they probably should be.
Yeah, so that's just crazy. And like that is the problem with the SEC is that's how you're getting Texas to dodge all those tough teams is because they get to schedule 4 non-conference. You want to talk about Texas? We haven't talked about Texas at all, really.
Yeah, we can have it. Yeah, so I mean they've got Quinn Ewers back, but they kind of have to replace a lot of the skill guys. So that's kind of where I'm a little questionable on them. But I guess Georgia's kind of in the same boat as far as like they've got the quarterback back, but the skill position guys on offense are kind of transfer portal guys. So I think they brought in some good transfers though. And with their schedule, I mean they're probably losing to. I mean max, you'd say probably Michigan. I don't think that'll happen because Michigan will be worse probably. Whoever, Alabama or Georgia, I can't remember which one they play. One of the 2. They don't play both
Georgia.
of them. But Georgia, okay. And then
I think at home.
Oh, okay. Like I don't think they'll win that one, but like I said earlier with Georgia though, since they play such a tough schedule, I wouldn't be shocked if they lose a game just because you're playing that gauntlet,
Yeah.
And then maybe A&M and OU, they might. I could see one of those just from being a rivalry game, but I think they get a good shot though. I'm not as high on them as far as I see some people got them like their top 3, top 4, or whatever.
Not some people.
I'd say Alabama's better than them right now, clearly. But
I think they're 4 right now, right?
Probably, yeah, somewhere in that range. So I'd have Alabama above them, but I'd say they're probably better than Ole Miss or whoever else, Missouri, whoever else there. But
I'm excited for them to get to go back to Arkansas and Texas A&M, though. Those two, I know Arkansas is not that good, but just getting to go back there and renew those rivalries, hopefully that'll be
I think Arkansas
fun to watch.
Really?
I think so. It might have been what's his name? Charlie Strong. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's right. I actually remember that now. That's right.
It was a rough era right there. I guess till last year it's been rough, but we couldn't. Charlie Strong was the bottom, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, lost to Kansas. It's about as
Oh man,
some dark times.
Good times. Oh, that's right, dark times.
Was that good times?
Yeah, it was good times. Not for Tech either, really. It was not good times for us. It was fun watching y'all lose to Kansas, I guess. Yeah. Well, anything else in the SEC we want to talk about? I think we covered it pretty well.
We pretty much covered every team there, I think. Pretty in-depth.
Yeah.
South Carolina, no Spencer Rattler, but it's okay.
It's all right. He's going to be the starter for New Orleans Saints pretty soon. Overthrow.
You heard it here first.
All right, and let's go to the Big 12. Who do y'all have winning? So I love the Big 12 so much because of how much parity is in it. I'll be interested to see though if we all pick the same team. So who do y'all have winning this conference?
I'm gonna say Kansas State. So I don't know who y'all got, but that's what I'm picking.
I'm saying Oklahoma State. Is that who you're gonna say, Ashton?
I hate to gang up on you, Ingham Brady. That's what.
Hey, that's fine with me.
I think Kansas State is the betting favorites, though. I think.
I
would say Oklahoma
Is it not Utah?
It might have changed since the last time I looked in. That was like a month ago. But.
Everyone with the laziest picks is picking Utah. I mean, it's crazy. So, I mean, Utah could be good, but it's just like.
Yeah, I love some Cam Rising. But.
When we were watching the game last Saturday, all the guys picking beforehand, everyone picked Utah except for Pat McAfee picked West Virginia. And that's just because he went there, So it's like, okay, well,
respect though.
And no one gave a reason. Like they gave the reasons for all their other teams, but then they just say like Utah, they were good in the Pac-12. They're going to be good in the Big 12. I'm like,
Cam Rising was good.
Cam Rising's coming back.
Yeah,
7 years into the NCAA.
He hadn't played for
he hasn't
2 years
played
now?
2 years, but he's going to be a Heisman candidate. And I'm just like, I mean, I get it. Utah has been good, but give me a little more than that. But anyways, Oklahoma State or Kansas State, whoever wants to talk first.
I mean, Kansas State, there's partially some bias because I watched Avery Johnson rush. Was it 5 touchdowns against Texas Tech?
Yep.
It was a crazy game to watch. Their defense is always good. It's tough to go play Kansas State and put up many points. You make mistakes, and then they just capitalize. I don't know. I just think they are a well-coached team, well-run program. And I say the same about Oklahoma State. My difference with Oklahoma State is I don't trust Alan Bowman. I loved him his freshman year, but he's just gotten worse every year. And so I'm gonna go with Avery Johnson. I think he's a better playmaker and just gives Kansas State a better chance each game.
Yeah, I mean, that backfield's crazy talented between Avery Johnson, DJ Giddens, and Dylan Edwards. Like, those are 3 like probably professional football players in the future. DJ had sneakily 1,200 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns. And Dylan Edwards for Colorado got hurt, but he's really talented too. The reason I don't pick Kansas State, Brady, is you said their defense is always good, but last year their front 7 was outside the top 100 in like PFF rankings. Like they just gave up a ton of rushing yards, and they pretty much had the same guys returning. That's the only reason I didn't pick them, because it's like if you look at the Big 12 right now, it is running back heavy. Like every team has a 1,000-yard back in the backfield. So I don't know. I just feel like they're probably going to break at some point. Whereas with Oklahoma State, I'm feeling pretty good about them because they were in the Big 12 championship game last year, and pretty much everyone for them is returning as well. And I just trust Mike Gundy.
Yeah, I agree with you on, well, number one, Gundy. I know as we agreed this much on this many coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gundy.
That's why Gundy's a winner. Back me up. Gang up Gundy's on Brady.
A winner, but
hey, I agree with y'all on Mike Gundy. I just
I
don't necessarily trust Alan Bowman.
Yeah. Now they were admittedly pretty up and down
too.
last year. Yeah, Kleiman's a good coach. Yeah, I'd say him, then Whittingham at Utah, and Gundy definitely in some order. But Oklahoma State was pretty up and down last year, so that's kind of the only reason I'm a little skeptical on the pick. But they still somehow made the championship regardless. You know,
like somehow his name is Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, and good news is he's back. All right, despite whatever charges he might have, even if he fits in at Georgia, he's back. Okay, you know, but even though they kind of got killed by Texas in the championship, they still made it, and they return. I think they're like top 5, I think, in returning production from last year, just like as far as the whole roster. Like they got both their receivers back, Presley and what's the other one's name? Owens, maybe? I can't remember. He looks like Terrell Owens. I don't think it's Owens, but that's kind of what his build is like that, you know? I think they've got their 2 leading tacklers back. So I don't know. I think
all 5 offensive linemen are back.
Yeah. So and
they were good last year.
And I think, like you said, getting to the championship just gives you that experience. And then even if you do lose it, you still made it. And then, you know, they're the new Oklahoma and Texas are gone. I feel like they should probably be the next team, but I can see the Kansas State pick though. I can see it.
Yeah. And like Ollie Gordon didn't even play that much in the first 4 games of the season last year.
Yeah.
You know, like it took them forever to figure out they had the Doak Walker Award winner. But man, he's crazy good. He had 1,700 yards rushing, 21 touchdowns, 1,000 yards after contact. Just insane. So I think as long as he's back there in a running back heavy league like the Big 12, I think he's just going to carry him. And Bowman just has to limit the turnovers. Like he threw for a lot of yards, but he threw 15 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Like to have a nearly 1-to-1 ratio there is insane.
Yeah, makes you wonder how bad Gundy's son was. All right, quarterback to not put in that daddy ball. You know, it's like
yeah. I mean,
we got to rival Bowman. I'm sorry.
Bowman threw for 3,460 yards.
Yeah. That was.
I know y'all can't see this.
Yeah. We don't have this podcast on video, but if you've seen those gifs of his hand shaking when he's taking,
just think about you on College Football 25 playing at Penn State, shaking. You know, that's what's happening.
True freshman at Appalachian State. Just,
well, I will say I looked at the PFF numbers for the Big 12, trying to figure out, okay, who would I just pick? Because I honestly think there's like 8 teams in this league that can win it. And so I was looking at some like stats, and one stat that gave me pause on Oklahoma State was their secondary is going to have to step up. It was outside the top 100 teams in coverage grade last year, which makes sense because I felt like Texas was just smoking them in the secondary. So that's definitely not as big a weakness to me because of how backwards the Big 12 is from like what they used to be.
Yeah,
wise, like they run the ball so much more, and passing is important. And it might flip this year because I think the Big 12 has some of the best quarterbacks as well. So it'll be interesting to see who wins this league for sure. But so we got 2 Oklahoma State and 1 Kansas State. What other teams y'all want to talk about? Obviously, me and Brady have one.
Here, I'll talk about that before y'all dive into that. But I think Arizona is the team, like the biggest question mark on them because they lost their head coach, but they kind of returned the roster though.
Yeah.
So like if they still had Jeb Fish, I might think they could actually win the conference, you know. But
for sure,
with the coach coming in, I really don't know. But I mean, I know they were pretty good last year. They got Fafita at quarterback and McMillan, I think's his name, at receiver. Like they're one of the better duos, if not the best kind of combo.
Yeah.
So if they had Jeb Fish, I may be tempted to pick them to win it. But since they don't, I'm kind of a little questionable. I think they could be really good or not, But I think this is the most open conference, like you were saying, as far as multiple
who could win it.
Teams could win it. Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about Arizona, they weirdly play Kansas State in a non-conference game on week 3. So like we'll know pretty quick who's better between the two of them. But that game is not going to matter in the standings. It's so.
I don't know how they couldn't change that. It's
so stupid.
Like just put them on. I guess because you couldn't find a preseason, a non-conference game. I don't know.
Game, but like. What if it comes down to tiebreakers between like Arizona and Kansas State, and Kansas State wins the tiebreaker, but they literally lost to Arizona in the non-conference game?
That's true. Yeah,
it's going to be so stupid. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. The game itself is going to be fun. I think those are two pretty even teams. So, and it'll be cool to see kind of like that'll. We'll know a lot of the Big 12 early because a lot of those top teams play each other quick. So. But yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah. I also think Kansas will be a fun team to watch. I know they've been like the team, like kind of how Tech was last year, where there's a lot of people like, this is the dark horse of the Big 12. And we weren't. Kansas, they got Jalen Daniels at quarterback, and that's the biggest factor for them. I feel like if he can stay healthy, then I think everyone saying they're the dark horse has a very valid reason. But is it 2 years in a row that he hasn't stayed healthy? So it's just like when he's healthy, they're really fun to watch.
He's a Heisman candidate.
I was going to say he's a Heisman candidate, and then they have Devin Neal to pair with him. It's fun to watch, but you just kind of sitting on eggshells waiting on the inevitable to happen. So for his sake, I hope it doesn't. I hate talking about injuries being a person's career, but that's just the scary part of Kansas, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we're talking other teams before we talk Tech, so I'll say mine is probably West Virginia. They were the surprise of Big 12 last year, going 9-4 after Neil Brown, I thought, was going to get fired before the season ended. Like they turned it around. And a big part of that was because they had that dual threat quarterback, Garrett Green, throw for 2,400 yards, 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. And he also ran for 780 yards for 13 touchdowns. So, I mean, he's getting a little Heisman buzz now. And I think it's deserved. He looked pretty good last year. He kind of looks like Baker Mayfield to me when he's all suited up.
Yeah,
he just runs faster.
The way he runs and stuff. Yeah. And he plays like him too. Like he talks a lot smack in the game I watched. I think it was the bowl game I watched. Like every time they tackled him, he was getting up in their face saying something.
They could have won 10 games last year if not for that Hail Mary by Houston. Y'all remember that?
Yeah. I forgot about that.
If they win that game, they got 10 wins. So they're shockingly good, and they play Penn State early. If they beat Penn State at home, like watch out. I mean, I think West Virginia could win the Big 12 easy and not just be Pat McAfee's pick because he's been there.
Yeah. Hey, if they beat Penn State, they're going to be in the top 10 of the AG poll. Okay, so they're going to shoot up. Maybe.
Wow, that is a jump right there. I like it.
Maybe.
One stat I saw for Garrett Green too that was crazy to me is over 50% of his passes went over 10 yards. So like he has a lower completion percentage, but it's because they were just chunking the ball, and it's because they're so run heavy. They have 2 running backs that went over 800 yards, and like I think is Jameer White or something. He's a true freshman, and he's really like explosive. And then they got CJ Donaldson, who had a really good year the year before last year, and then kind of fell back a little bit last year, but was still good. Between those two, I mean, they just ran the ball a ton, and Garrett Green almost hitting 100 yards too. So it's just like they run the ball a ton, and then they beat you deep, kind of like we were talking about before we got on the podcast. And then we got Colorado. Per usual, they are just a hype machine with Deion Sanders. What do y'all think? Do y'all want them to be good? How do y'all feel about Deion Sanders?
Man, I tried to not be a hater on him, but it just like I'm not one to just usually be a hater, but the way the media pushed him and then really kind of his response to it, I was like, you know what, I just don't. I can't root for this team, you know. It's like I'm not one to usually do that to really anybody, you know. Like even maybe A&M. That's maybe the one exception. Just and I even tried to be an
actually no.
I tried to like A&M, but their fans are they rub me the wrong way. All right, but anyways, but sorry, back to Colorado. Yeah, Colorado. unfortunately, I can't. Yeah, I can't root for him.
Yeah, I mean, met Deion Sanders in person. He asked one of our friends to get in a 3-point stance and asked him why he's not playing football.
Yeah,
he's a pretty funny guy. He's a big personality.
Gosh,
I don't know if I
were you there? You were there, right? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just in the middle of a restaurant, just hey, show me your 3-point stance.
and what's he gonna say? No, Deion Sanders,
right? You can't say no, so we did it. But anyways, he's a big personality. I don't know if I'm a hater or a person who wants him to succeed. I think his team is just really interesting. It's just like they got so much talent, but also it's Colorado.
They have no depth.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is just watching is Travis Hunter going to be a two-way player again the rest of the year? Do they just convert him? Yeah.
He will be. Deion Sanders did that, and like he's not going to tell this kid no.
I mean, I will say they did beat TCU last year, even though I'm a hater on them. Like they did. Not that that's saying much, but I was just saying, like they,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fun game between two bad teams, but
yeah.
They still had like Sadur, Sanders, and Travis Hunter are both NFL talent, like maybe even first round, both of them. So that's kind of unusual in the Big 12. I mean, we can get some first rounders. Like 2 years ago, I think we had a pretty good amount, and then last year was kind of down. But like, I think that those two could carry a team. The problem is in football, it just doesn't work quite like basketball. It's like they're going to have to carry. Like Sadur is as close as you can get to being able to carry a team at quarterback, and he tried his darndest last year. Like threw for over 3,000 yards, had 27 touchdowns, had 3 interceptions, and they still couldn't win more than 4 games. It's just crazy.
And then on the other part of that, they got a guy playing 2 positions. Yeah. And so talk about a guy trying to carry him at quarterback. This guy's trying to carry them on both sides of the football. And so, I mean, being carried by 2 players is really hard, but if you're going to have 2 players do it,
you got to do it at quarterback and both sides. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, Vegas has their over under at 5.5 wins. Would y'all take that? Some people are
look at the schedule.
Some people are saying they're going to win the league, and Vegas has them at 5.5. Vegas is not stupid, Like I think it's.
So they got that one really good offensive lineman. I think he's a true freshman though.
And then the other transfers, they just did away with their old line.
Yes, and so I think the biggest reason that they probably have them at 5.5 is because the offensive line and defensive line are such a big part of winning football games. So, what you got, Ashton?
All right, I'm thinking about 5. I don't know. All right, so here's their schedule. All right, you can tell me the losses right here. North Dakota State.
Oof. I think they'll win, but
that's a scary one.
Why would you ever schedule
them? But yeah.
Matt Rule said when he got hired at Nebraska, they said, number 1 rule, do not play either of the Dakotas. So,
well, speaking of Matt Rule, that's their next game, Nebraska.
They beat them last year.
All right. Colorado State. So, I mean, you could see a 3-0
right there. Yeah. The hype will be back.
Baylor.
Yeah.
They can win. I think they can win that one.
They could be Baylor.
So 4-0.
UCF.
I think they lose.
Yeah, I think. Is it at UCF?
It is, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're winning that.
Kansas State.
Loss.
I don't think they're winning.
At Arizona.
Loss.
Cincinnati.
Win.
That puts you at 5.
So that's 5.
All right, now here's the gauntlet you got then. All right, it's going to come down to an interesting one for y'all. All right, at Texas Tech.
I'm going to say loss.
Yeah, loss.
Utah.
Loss.
They host Utah.
Yeah.
At Kansas. It's going to depend on your boy Daniel's health, probably.
I agree.
For sure.
And then Oklahoma State. It's the last one.
Loss.
Yeah. That's pretty tough Big 12
schedule. 5-6, kind of right in there. I guess, that really is a tough Big 12 schedule because they don't play West Virginia. I guess it's only,
Yeah.
Maybe Iowa State. That's a tougher one, but yeah, we named everybody that we named.
The guys that we think are competitors. Yeah, so I can see 5.5 wins. I mean, man, would y'all take it? I think I'd take the over because I think that they're going to pull one game out that they're
I'm going to say no. I don't know if they can beat Nebraska.
I agree with Ashton. I think they'll lose one of the first two.
Yeah.
Well, I think they got a shot to start strong and then finish bad. Baylor. Yeah. Oh, I don't know either. I mean, again, I think they could lose a lot of those games.
Yeah, no.
I also think I think
they're going to have to win.
This is his second year in the program too. I think they're going to improve.
Yeah, it should be better.
He already made them better last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. They're going to have to win the winnable games because that back end is tough.
Yeah,
it is tough.
All right, let's talk about Tech. We've already hinted at it, but we got to have Behren Morton stay healthy. We haven't had a quarterback start all our games, like a single quarterback start all our games since 2017 with Nick Shimonek. So, since then, we've had quarterback injury every year to our starting quarterback. That's just insane to me. It's got to stop at some point, right? We got to be able to have a quarterback stay out there. And the biggest problem is because our line has been it's not been only our line's fault. We've just had some unlucky injuries, and we ran Tyler Shuck way too much.
I was about to say it's some play calling too, running QB powers after. We'll take it back to Alan Bowman. He punctures a lung and he comes back out at half or right before half, and then we run QB power. What are we doing? So I think just being smart with him on top of not having maybe the best offensive line, we just gotta protect him.
Yeah, and Joey McGuire, this is his third year, so his guys are finally starting to appear in the starting lineups, and that's after we've had, is it 2 or 3 top 25 classes in a row, recruiting wise?
I think it's 2.
Yeah. So I mean,
I could be wrong.
Honestly, we haven't recruited like that in so long that now I'm like, man, we might have some real talent out there to play, but we've just never seen them play. So it feels like a wild card to me, especially our secondary.
Yeah. I mean, we got Baskerville is going to be back there and Braylon Lux, which Braylon Lux had, I think, 2 pick sixes that were called back for flags. But I think they will be a big part of teaching our young guys. We got Horn, who's a 4-star corner. I think he's going to be our starter this year I don't know if he's had a snap of an actual football game yet. So
yeah.
And then we got the Baylor transfer. I think his name's AJ McCarthy, playing a star position. And so which he played a decent amount of Baylor and had some good reps in there. So I think the biggest question will be offensive line, which we already kind of hit on. But I don't know.
We did the Colorado, and we put so many transfers in there at offensive line that it's just okay. These guys have a lot of starts, but are they good? We'll find out. I do think we have a favorable Big 12 schedule, kind of like A&M.
We don't play our hard games you're on the road.
Yeah, our hard games are on the road, but we just don't play a lot of the top guys, unlike Colorado.
We got to go to Arizona, 2 Oklahoma State, and 2 Iowa State. So those are the 3 that I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah, my hype for this season will all ride on the Washington State game week 2, because last year Wyoming ripped our heart out in week 1, and we had all those hopes, and we had that podcast where we hyped up Texas Tech as at least an 8-win team, and they wet the bed. So the Washington State game is going to feel so much like that Wyoming game, where we're clearly the more talented team going into a hostile environment out in the middle of nowhere with a team that's really wanted to prove something, especially Washington State getting left out of the new power structure. So, they're about to play a team of the conference that snubbed them. I am worried about that game. So if we can win that game, then my outlook for the rest of the season is going to be high, but we'll see.
Yeah. In the Joey McGuire era, we finish strong and start slow. And so we just got a lot of our hard games are at the end of the year, which he's been great in September. But we got to take care of business to start the season off. And
except for that freaking one Texas game.
Yeah. But we'll scratch that. Outside of that, I think he's only lost like 2 games in September since he's been our coach. So
yeah. I mean, we've got like our quarterbacks returning. We've got Taj Brooks, who didn't go to the NFL, ran for 150. Golly, I keep doing that. 50 yards. And so it is crazy. Have y'all noticed, like, it feels like a lot of running backs are staying in college because you can almost make more money in college than in the pros now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why Carson Beck stayed too. And it's like, this might be an unintended positive for the college game where we actually have like more talent. With this in the COVID year, I know I've been reading articles about these NFL scouts that are like, man, used to we would have like 2 or 3 guys on a Big 12 team, 5 to 6 guys on an SEC team that we're looking at. Now it's like, add 3 or 4 more to every team, like they're getting run thin because there's so much talent in the college game right now, which is pretty fun. I think this can make the year more exciting, but Taj is a good example of that, where it's like you're going to be a low round draft pick in the NFL, or you can stay at Tech, make a lot more money, and then try to get that, rushing record for Tech and boost your brand.
Yeah. And especially with running backs, like you're saying, they kind of know now you get one good NFL contract and then they're going to snub you on money. Yeah. So you might as well make as much money as you can here.
Like, so no matter what your age is, like that like whenever you enter the NFL, you got that first contract with your son, like, and then you're probably
26 to 28 years old, and they're like, all right, next.
Yeah.
So I think that's good for college football, and it's good for Tech this year. If we win 8 games, I'll be pretty pumped. And if we win more than that, I'll be ecstatic.
I think 8 games is kind of my bar. We need to win 8 games is what I'm going to say.
Just need or improving. What?
Huh?
What?
I like Brady's preference on that.
I'm just saying Tech has not won 8 games very consistently. We did it 1 year, or did we? Yeah, we did it 1 year with Joey now. But like that was the first time we'd done it in, I don't know, a long time. This feels like a long time.
Well, I mean, if we come out and win 7 games, I will be fine. I will not be happy. I will not be like, yeah, we're on the way up with 7 games or 7 wins. But
me neither. That's why I said 8.
No, you said 8. You'll be happy.
Brady said 8.
I said 8. I'll be happy. 7. Like I wouldn't be happy. I'd just be kind of.
Okay. Well, I'd say with 7, I'd be kind of disappointed. 8's the bar where I'm like, okay, this is what we should be doing. Anything above that, I'll be ecstatic. So,
I'll go ahead and say this: Brett sold me on McGuire and Tech last year. We saw how that worked out. So,
Ashton, go listen to that podcast. I said we were going to win 8.
I sold you on it.
Brady said we were winning 10 or 11
games. I didn't say. I don't think I said 11. I think I said 10.
All right, it was one of you two sold me on it. Okay, so
that was me.
I think Brady just has higher standards for y'all's program. All right, which I appreciate.
I know it's because Brady.
I like to be an optimistic person. Okay? Yeah, Brett's always over here trying to drive me.
Brady's a little more like me. He's like, this is the bar. All right, if not, Texas playoff is the bar.
I mean, Ashton's team is making the playoffs, and he's upset with them.
Yeah, I know. So. I don't want to be that guy. If we make the playoffs, I will be there day one. I will be in the stadium.
Brett's okay with the 500 coach, as long as you aren't having losing seasons.
Dude, I've been through too many losing seasons. I did not say that. I said 8. Y'all heard me say 8. That is not a 500 team.
It's a different 8, though.
I was sad about last year.
I don't remember that.
All I know is I'm so excited for this football season. I just cannot wait. I'm dying over here.
Hey, we get tomorrow. It starts, baby.
Tomorrow it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your Colorado, North Dakota State game.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm actually excited to watch that one.
It might be the one I'm most excited to watch.
Minnesota, North Carolina. I think that's the only Division
Power
1.
4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Division 1.
Sorry, FBS, what they call it. I don't think it's been Division 1 for like 15 years now.
There is a bunch of Division 1 teams.
That's so stupid. Yeah. FBS.
So are you a we need to put the the group of 5 schools now in their own tournament?
I don't think so. Well, no. I don't know.
I kind of think so, man.
The way the bowl games are now, it just depends on how they would try for it. Because I feel like it would almost feel like the NIT. But also, bowl games are meaningless now.
No, because the Power 4 teams wouldn't have a chance to be in it. Like the NIT
is
like
everybody. With bowl games how they are now, it's kind of hard. Because I'd be like, I want to see Boise State play Oregon, in the Fiesta Bowl or whatever. But now it's once you get that, it's like neither team. It's the backups. Yeah. So I mean, maybe I don't know, or just
I don't know. I used to not be on that
add a couple
train.
more.
Now I'm kind of like, man, we've taken all of the good Group of 5 schools and put them in the Power 5 now. Yeah. So
that's like heck, even throw in the G5 in the back end of the playoff. I don't care. Like if you win your conference, you got to like plan to get in or something. Like that would be interesting. Like a G5 plan to get in. Like they got to all play each other.
Maybe like a 4-team playoff to get in.
Yeah, like the top 4. I don't even know how many G5 conferences there are.
And so then it's like, hey, you won the G5 championship. Yeah. Can you win the full thing?
Yeah, beat each other.
Yeah, I would be behind that.
Good luck with Georgia.
Good luck with Georgia.
That's what they freaking did in college football 25. Dude, I made the playoff. They freaking put me up against Georgia first week. Or no, I take it back. I won my conference. I had to play the winner of Georgia, Alabama. It's like, what is this crap,
dude? The college football, the ranking system is broken.
Yeah, dude. I took Stanford to the playoff. What was this? Your result?
I put A&M on my non-conference so that I could beat them. They beat me the first year. I beat them the second year. And then I'm getting to the end of the season, and they're ranked ahead of me with their one loss being me. And I haven't lost a game. I'm like, what is going on? But that's anyway.
Sorry, I guess sidetracked.
Yeah, sidetracked. But
Brady, what did you think about the G5 thing, though? I kind of went off.
So my biggest thing was I agree with what y'all said. I like it. Would they just play their conference then? Like get rid of their non-conference because they gotta somehow like balance out the amount of games they play.
I think is it like the top one is still getting in the other playoff? Is that right or no? Is that kind of what they're pitching?
The like top group of 5 gets into the actual playoff. 12, I think.
I think so. And then I don't know as far as how that works.
Because if y'all are saying do a little playoff
that's not
for
what
them,
they're pitching. That's not.
It's not what they're pitching. Okay, well, I don't know. I legit don't know.
Different. There's no one really pitching that. Everyone's saying like do a totally different one. But and I'm kind of on board with that because that's where it's headed. Like like I said, we've taken the best schools already.
Yeah.
Originally, I wasn't for that, but now I'm like, golly, it's getting so imbalanced. But I like the idea of having a 4-team playoff to get into the main playoff. So then that way you can like hang a banner and be like, hey, we won the G5 championship. Can we win the whole thing? And I think
I'm just going to go ahead and say we just came up with that here because I haven't seen that anywhere.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Just saying.
Hey, go make a video on your YouTube channel. Go ahead and push it.
Yeah, go ahead and push it out there. This is what the new format needs to be.
Yeah, they also need to reseed the playoffs because it's going to be whack. Like, oh crap! I forgot to
rewarding the conference champions.
Yeah, I forgot to pick my playoff bracket. Y'all have y'all picked?
It's not too late. Let's go.
No, I don't. Yeah, I'd have to think about it more before I put it out there.
You came up with this format.
I forgot.
I'll prepare this so I can copy y'all. So I can copy Ashton's teams and just go against Brady.
No.
Every pick Ashton says, you're like, yeah, I agree. Brady. Are you dumb?
Conference champion right there.
No, but I was just gonna say the layout of the playoffs is gonna be kind of dumb to me.
I do like rewarding the conference champions. I will say that.
I do too, but I think it should be reseeded because like the Big 12.
Are you talking about every matchup?
Not every match. I'm talking about when the bracket is decided, reseed the teams based on record, strength of schedule, that kind of stuff.
So don't give them automatic bye. Like like the top 4 conference champs get a bye or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think they should get a bye. Okay. I mean,
it's kind of crappy.
It is kind of crappy, but like, what if I really think there's a chance where the Big 12 has an 8-4 win team win their conference championship.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Bama is the 5 seed. They play a group of 5 team. Then they play the second best Big 12 school. And then they're in the championship game or maybe semifinals.
Semis.
And so it's like, all of a sudden you've rewarded the 5th seed team more than the team that wins their championship in the SEC. So like I think that somehow you need to reseed, but it'll be interesting to see in this first year how it works out.
Well, that's what I'll be curious to see how they maneuver it, because like you're going to get some rematches in there, and I don't think they want that. Like they'll bump somebody up even though they didn't really beat somebody. Like it's like let's go ahead and move Bama so they don't play whoever again.
For real, imagine a world where you play Texas and Georgia play each other, then they play each other for the conference championship, and then they meet each other again in the playoffs. It's just like, holy cow!
Yeah, I figure
that's too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a lot. I will say, I think one of the cooler things, but also what sucks for being a conference champion, is the first couple games get to be home games for the higher seed, and like that's awesome. Like if Tech hosted, honestly, I would almost rather Tech not be in the bye seed, just so that we get to, like, if we had a chance to host a playoff game, that would be electric.
Yeah,
just a home playoff game. I don't know.
That's how you
understand why they do it the way they do.
Do you understand? I just don't understand it. I think maybe have the championship game be in like a selected place. Yeah, but to have these bowl games like always integrated, I just think it's time to kill the bowl games. They're not doing, like, maybe have bowl games outside of the playoffs just so that we have more football and but there's no reason that the conference championship should be rewarded with not getting a home game. Like imagine the money they're losing too. It's just a really weird way to do that.
Yeah, well, that's what even I think whenever we talked a couple years ago, like I was against expanding the playoff, but with the direction the bowl games have gone, like you have to, otherwise bowl games are.
It'll give more.
They're terrible already because it's backups, but like that was why I was against it at first, because I was like I don't want to see it change the regular season, but it's like you have to, otherwise it's all I care about now is the playoff, because the bowl games are terrible.
There's more teams that are going to consider their season a success now,
which sucks because bowl games used to be awesome, and then just you got 2 months or however long, just every day, so you got a game.
Yeah, I hope they can find a way. I mean, this is going to make the playoffs. There's going to be more meaningful games, and then I think that the bowl games that are like Tech and Cal had nobody sit on either team when they played last year. Yeah. And so, like, some of those mid-tier games, like the Pop-Tart Bowl.
That's not true. We had Miles Cole sit.
We
had a few people sit.
Okay, well, it still felt like most of our teams.
We had some people sit, but then I still liked the bowl game because you do get to see younger guys come out and perform. Like we had a guy named Amir Washington come out and get 3 sacks in that game, and he hadn't played all year. And so I honestly don't have an issue with people sitting from a fan's point of view, because I like to see what we got next year. So,
especially in the bowl games.
Well, yeah, and I don't necessarily mean like our team, but it's like, if you're watching, like usually I would just tune into a random bowl game, but now it's like, I don't want to watch Florida State sports and get pounded by Georgia, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We pretty much already talked about this, I think, in our last podcast when Saban retired, but that one did pretty good. So thank y'all for listening. Man, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up this?
We need your playoff predictions. You ain't getting off.
Dude, I seriously can't.
You already got the first 4 locked in.
We've already named our conference champs. You're good there. You already got those 4. So just go ahead and throw out some at-larges, and you got to have a G5 team in there. That's your only perimeter.
Yeah.
You want me to go before you, Brett?
Yeah, go before me. So I
can repeat our picks, Brett.
No, I know who are the championship. I know the ones that we've already picked: Oklahoma State, Georgia, Ohio State, and Clemson. So, boy, fun.
We did
very much locks.
Yeah, I was kidding. Okay.
Yeah. So I got Georgia, Oregon, Kansas State, Miami. So quite a bit different than y'all's, I guess. Then I got Texas. I got Ohio State. I got Michigan, Alabama, Oklahoma State. Then I got Clemson and I got Tennessee. And then I got Liberty as my group of 5. That's my predictions.
So you think 2 ACC teams?
I do. If Clemson doesn't win, I think Clemson will have a good enough resume to make it.
What did you say, Ashton?
I'll say you had 2 Big 12 teams too in there.
You had Oklahoma State and Utah.
Like Oklahoma State and Kansas State.
Kansas State. Okay, yeah.
And what about Michigan? Think Michigan will be able to make it?
I think Michigan will. I mean, part of that rides on me not thinking that the Big Ten is always the best. And so I think Michigan goes out and wins the games they're supposed to. They're a big enough brand. I think that they will get almost just like put in there because of their Michigan.
All right. So, Brett, I'll go ahead and give you yours. Okay. All right.
No.
All right. So, you want to go or you want me to go?
You go ahead. I'll take.
I'm kidding. All right. So, the conference champs we said was, let's see, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, and Oklahoma State. All right. And then, so it's 4. My G5 is Memphis, is who I've got right now. So that was originally when I thought Florida State was going to be good, though, when I was thinking about this. So I was already thinking about this last week before we talked about it. But so I don't know. They do play Florida State. So I was kind of like, usually I was thinking even if they lose that game, it'll be all right. It'll look good. But now I don't know. So, but we'll go with Memphis, then Texas, Missouri, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oregon, Penn State. I feel like I'm leaving out somebody. Notre Dame. How's the other one? Notre Dame.
Okay, so 1 ACC.
Notre Dame's the one I'm most questionable with. 1 ACC and 1 Big 12. Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen.
Five SEC teams.
3 Big 10 and 5 SEC. Sheesh.
Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, but
I know that's why they expanded.
Texas, Ole Miss, and Missouri, they're not losing more than 1 game probably. Maybe, unless they lose to A&M. That'd be the only other option that Brady talked about earlier.
Jeez.
And same with Oregon and Penn State, they don't play each other. So it'd be Michigan or Penn State's probably making it.
Is Oregon on the same side of the Big Ten as Ohio State?
Well, now there's
no sides now.
Yeah, there's no sides now. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say maybe that's how Penn State would meet up with them and lose, but never mind.
Which Ohio State does play both of them, so I mean, and they play Michigan. So if they lost to one,
yeah.
All right. So like I said, Georgia, Clemson, Oklahoma State, Ohio State. Yeah. I really, really want to put more thought into this than I'm able to right here.
You can go check in. We're not gonna be mad.
No,
go with your gut.
Go with your heart on this one. Come on,
my heart.
What's the bar?
I think Texas is going to be in. So Texas and Alabama in the Big Ten, Ohio State, and then whoever they play in the championship game, either Penn State or Oregon. Let's just say Oregon. I don't believe in Penn State, clearly. So
what happened?
And then I want a Big 12 to be in there, a Big 12 team to be in there. So I'm going to pick Kansas State also for my Group of 5 team. I mean, Liberty's going to go undefeated. Do you think that's going to put them in?
That's why I put them there, because I don't think they're going to lose, and
they just don't play anybody good.
I think they play. Do they play Appalachian State? Is that the one I'm thinking of? I think they might be okay, but still, it's only a G5 school. But
right,
if they're the only Appalachian State plays Clemson, if they can keep it competitive with Clemson, maybe and then make it look better.
Yeah,
but that's why I had Memphis, because I thought they might punish them for making it last year or making the New Year's Six and kind of getting beat pretty good. They might punish them kind of for we realized you can't do it, so let's give somebody else a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Liberty will be undefeated too, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll put in Liberty there, even though they're probably going to get their teeth kicked in again.
Which probably anybody is.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like Memphis, I watch and think that team looks like they have at least some guys that can play.
Well, you'll probably think that when Liberty's beating Western Kentucky by 70, Oh yeah, this team. That's what I'm talking about, right?
You could toss Boise State in there, maybe.
Texas State.
Boise State. Let's put Boise State in there. I don't know the group of 5 schools very good. I agree with you. Notre Dame's going to get in. I think Notre Dame's going to get in every year. They're never going to win a championship, like a conference championship, get that automatic bye. But I mean, if they win 11 games, 10 games, they're going to put them in. No, I can't. Big 12's not getting 3 teams in. I would love it if Tech gets in there. I can't call my shot here. I just told you I thought they're going to win 8 games.
Syracuse, come on.
Syracuse, not a chance.
Rutgers, come on, baby.
No Rutgers. No.
but that Iowa.
Missouri's getting in.
There you go.
Yeah, that's 10.
Hawkeyes?
No. Dang, man, there's so many teams that could be in this playoffs.
Which conference are you leaning to? Or are you just leaning teams here?
SEC. I think the SEC is better than the Big Ten, and I don't want to put
Penn State
in. I don't want to put Penn State in there, but also I'm like Penn State's going to lose 2 games, so they're probably in 2. So let's put Penn State.
You haven't said Ole Miss.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
I don't believe in Ole Miss. Let's say Tennessee, and the last 2, Tennessee and Penn State. As long as Big 12 gets 2 teams in, I'll be happy.
You had me till Tennessee. I don't know about that one. Just kidding.
I'm kidding. Yeah, he joined my side on that one.
At least she came around on Penn State by about 11.
If you ask me Ole Miss or Tennessee, I think I'm going to pick Tennessee, even though Ole Miss is pretty talented. I just feel like I've always watched them lose the big games, and I recently saw Tennessee beat Bama. So,
yeah, true.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. That was the end of that. Was we sputtered to the end there on my predictions, but I think the rest of the podcast was pretty good.
Not all of this, you know.
I got Oregon winning it all.
Yeah.
You got who? Oregon?
I got Oregon.
Ooh. Oregon. Golly, you are a believer in Oregon.
All in.
You've got that friend whispering in your ear too.
Dan Lanning.
McClain. I just like Oregon. They've been good for so long. They got to win one eventually, you know.
Yeah.
Come on.
It is cool Dan Lanning chose to stay at Oregon instead of go to Bama. So
they can give the rest of the schools who are not blue bloods hope to eventually become a blue blood.
Yeah. I don't want it to happen, but if you said you have to bet your house, I'd pick Georgia to win it.
Well, if I was betting Ohio State, I'd probably pick Georgia.
Ohio State? Nice.
I think there's 2 talented.
Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon. Honestly, I think Brady's is the least likely to happen, but it's still pretty high.
They're going to be in. I think all 3 of those teams are definitely in
for sure. Yeah,
mm-hmm. I think they'll all win a game in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, and the crazy thing is, if you ask me out of those teams who has the most losses then in the regular season, I'd
say Georgia
just because they have such a tough schedule.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think Ohio State's losing a game until the playoffs. If they do,
I don't know. Yeah. I won't go that far, but
all right. Well, now is there anything left?
I don't think so. No, it's commitment right there.
Yeah, I'm excited for this season. Thank y'all for hopping on, and thanks everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like it, give it 5 stars, all the stuff you do, and maybe we'll jump back on in the middle of the season. Things are crazy for me, family wise, but good crazy. And so if you don't hear from us, that's why. But hope y'all enjoyed the football season as much as we do. And all right, see you.